Yeah. So first off, I want to thank all the subscribers. Appreciate you guys for fucking with me. Thank you. And it's Saturday, so I want to keep it light. I want to talk about my opinion of Ralph Cifaretto from The Sopranos. Spoiler alerts if you haven't seen the series. It's a very good fucking series for real. Like I know we did a few already. Now Ralphie was one of my favorite characters because he was such a fucking asshole for real. Well, now one thing I didn't like, but it could be forgiven because is I didn't like we didn't have a proper build up to him coming. He just kind of just showed up out of nowhere. But what I did like is as soon as he showed up, like he was trouble, straight from the beginning, burning motherfuckers' trucks, like not knowing how to act, and when he dealt with that guy that said he's gonna snitch to the EPA, forgot his name, like he made sure he got his ass whooped like badly and shit. So that was the thing about Ralphie. He was fucking like prone to violence. Like this motherfucker was like wild with it, right? And one thing I noticed right away is he would constantly justify everything he did. He was one of those cats where he could never like take full responsibility, apologize, or he couldn't do any of that. He was the kind of guy that would have to have a reason why he did everything or why it was okay. We'd say, oh, it was because of this or it was because of that. Most of the time, it was stuff that would work within his world where he was at. So it was acceptable. But at times, he was doing it at unacceptable times. You know what I mean? So people were like, what the fuck you doing, man? You fucking shit up. But like he was just a loose cannon. They said that a gang of times. He was a loose cannon, but at the same time, he was really smart. He knew what he was doing a lot of the times, So he was definitely a fucking bully. And there's the scene right here, where he goes in there and he's just fucking with this guy for no reason. And that's the thing about Ralphie. He knew who he could fuck with, so he knew he played by the rules, right? So that's the thing. It's like if you're a boss, if you're a made guy, anything like that, he knows he couldn't touch you. He knew the rules, and he played by the rules. So he would leave you alone, like, all right, fuck it. But he would fuck with people, but in other ways. Like one person he always fucked with was Polly. Like he never wanted to pay Polly his money, always made a stink about it, and like he was just a dick, like to Polly. But he did it in a way where he would listen to the rules. Like if they were like, hey, you gotta pay Paulie this, you gotta do that, he would pay him his money. But fucking he would never make it easy. And I think he got off on that shit for real, because it seemed like if he can bully you any way, he was gonna do it. A lot of that probably has to do with what they revealed early on with his character development, is that he had when his dad died when he was 6, he had to raise his brothers and sisters, so he probably felt a lot of anger and resentment and shit. But he was he was definitely a bully, and right away he was fucking with he was fucking with Tony, getting under Tony's skin, and I think turning point is when he killed that girl Tracy, and this is where you kind of see like the monster he really is. Like he's nuts. He fucking doesn't listen. He doesn't have any regard for human life. Like he'll strangle somebody and just kill her, and it's nothing. And his excuse, again, going back to him justifying, she was a hooah. That's all he was saying, right? Like she's nobody. Don't worry about her. He felt that he was above everyone who wasn't a made guy, and that's how a lot of gangsters feel. I remember when I was bagging out there, I felt the same way. Like, man, if you ain't from my neighborhood, I don't give a fuck. Like, and even my mom tried to tell me one time, because I told her, look, I'll get down with a homie one on one, but if there's anyone else trying to get down with me or the homies, there ain't no one on one. Like, fuck that. Who are you? You don't have that. You know what I mean? Now in YA or anywhere like that, yeah, of course, if there are other Southsiders or whatever, you're gonna act appropriately, right? You're gonna give them that courtesy too. the courtesies you extend your homies on the streets are gonna be the same courtesies you extend to other people who become your homies when you're incarcerated or out of state or whatever. But that's the way he felt too. It's like I remember my mom was like, "Why would you do that? Like give people one-on-one fight." I'm like, "Fuck that! Like nah, like they didn't deserve that. They didn't earn that. You have to earn that shit." And I think he had that same mentality where he was like, he's a made guy. He put in his work. He did his dirt. So like if you ain't made you ain't gonna fuck with him, right? Like he's gonna fuck with you. He's gonna do whatever he wants. So he killed her, and yeah, he basically did whatever he wanted to do, and Tony did not like that. But the thing about Ralphie is he was very charismatic at the same time. So all of the people that made money with him, they loved this fool because he was making all kinds of money. So he's like, hell yeah, everybody around him was eating. Everybody was eating. And he was living large. You know what I mean? He was making a gang of money. So he wasn't the kind of guy that Tony could just whack. He's not the kind of guy that we could just get rid of and nobody ask any questions, right? He's the kind of guy that everybody's like, hey, what the fuck? Well, why are you tripping on this fool? This fool's cool. Leave him alone. There were certain times where people were like fed up with this shit, like, this fool's a dick. But even then, like this scene right here, what did Silvio say? Make him disappear or make nice. Tony had nothing he could really do. If he makes him disappear, people were already talking about Tony at this point. So they're like, this fool's fucking dirty. Like, it would have been all bad for him. Like, to get rid of a top earner over what many seen like as a prostitute, right? So people would have been pissed off. Like, what the fuck you doing, dog? Like you taking other people's sides over us? Like, this fool's making everybody's eating. Like, what the fuck you doing? So yeah, I like this scene because it shows how strategic Ralphie is in his bullying tactics. Like, he knows who he can fuck with, and it was really getting on the other. Like I said before, he was a bully. He was trying to bully Tony. So that was fucking nuts, man. And then this scene right here I like because it shows how Ralphie is a snake at the same time. Like he does scandalous shit. Like he originally approaches Johnny Sack talking about trying, not really saying, but like he said what did he say? He's not leaving me too many choices. Like trying to imply like we should whack this fool. And Johnny Sack's like, man, get the fuck out of here. Like, you may be making money, but that fool's a boss. Like, you can't come out. You can't come out like that. So then he switches it. Could I join you guys? So he wants to go to New York. You know, and it's like he's going to do what he can within the rules, within what he thinks other people will allow. And, yeah, it didn't work out for him, unfortunately. Yeah, and so, you know, he's stuck with Tony. Tony is a hothead, and Tony fucked up before because Tony shouldn't have put his hands on him, and he did. And they let that slide, and then Tony just ends up killing him. And, you know, I thought it was a good ending for him, honestly, because he was a real piece of shit, if you think about it. Like, he was cool. He's the kind of guy where if he's on your side, fuck yeah, you're rolling it up. You're loving that. We're like, hell yeah, this was cool as fuck. That's my boy Ralphie right there because he's on your side. You know what I mean? But he's the kind of guy where if he's not on your side, you're going to hate this fool. And, you know, Tony just couldn't stand him. And it's crazy because he made Tony so much money. And in the end, everybody, this is what I liked about Ralphie's character too, because even when he was dead, it wasn't as easy as it was for Tony when he killed Richie, when he just said he was a rat and he took off. People would not believe that with Ralphie, because with Richie, like, he wasn't a great earner. He was a street guy. He was psycho, but he wasn't that bright. With Ralphie, that fool had everything going. That fool had money coming all over the place. So it's not like, it wasn't one of those things where he could simply just make him disappear and everybody be like, fuck this guy. They were just like, he had to blame New York. And I forgot to mention, even after the Johnny Sack thing, Ralphie, he got under a lot of people's skin, and one of those was Paulie. Paulie, like I said before, he didn't want to pay Paulie. So what does Paulie do? Some scandalous shit. He tells Johnny Sack, who was one of fucking Ralphie's boys and shit, a joke that he made about fucking Ginny and shit, and that was a whole big old thing. So what that did is that made it, New York didn't want to look into it too much. They could have looked into it, but uh, New York didn't give a fuck when he died because Johnny Sack was like, man, fuck this fool. He wanted him dead anyway. So yeah, he got under the wrong people's skin, but the people that loved him, like they had love for this fool. And in the end, people even questioned what happened, and he, it was New York, and that's all Tony could say. Luckily, he had, Ralphie had beef with New York, so they didn't look into it any further and shit. But yeah, Ralphie was a cool character for real. Like I thought that he was very smart, um, egotistical like a motherfucker. And I think the thing that brought him down was his ego. If he would have toned that shit down a little bit, and stopped trying to bully people, then he could have lived longer. He could have probably even been a boss. Like it took him that long to become a captain and shit. Like he could have probably been big time, but nah, he just had too much of an ego, and he had to fuck with people, whether it be physically, intellectually, emotionally. Like he had some issues, and even I don't know what's up with Janice. Like if she brings out the freak in everybody or what, but like even the shit that like that's kind of strange shit that he would have her do, but that was on him, right? Like you could tell there was shit he was hiding. There was shit that he wasn't comfortable with about himself, that wasn't appropriate in his lifestyle, that he was able to do with Janice and shit. So he was definitely a strange character, but definitely one of my favorite characters. And when he died pretty brutally, and in the show that's what he deserved. You know what I mean? Like he was a fucking asshole. But yeah, those are my thoughts and my opinions of Ralphie. Definitely, like I said, one of my favorite characters in the show. Great antagonist, and he lived brutally and died brutally. And with that, we out. Peace.